like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in the cage, I'ma let out the wake up, get out the sheets. We came for one man, forget that peace. You take the west side, take on the east.
So Whitney, so excited to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us. Amazing yesterday. Tell me a little bit about what it was like being on stage at the Dinah.
Wow. I mean, I've been trying to play the Dinah for years now, so it feels like such an accomplishment to be having been asked to play this year. And coming out while I knew it was going to be like 110 degrees. I knew everyone was going to be drinking, so I'm like, okay, are we going to be able to get everyone's attention? Are they going to be, this is a bunch of girls. This is either the best idea or the worst idea for an event to get this many girls together. But yeah, it was really positive vibes. It was awesome. And I just felt really in my element. At first I was like, this is a challenge for me. I don't play a lot of events like this. And then I was like, okay, this feels like I'm at home.
And so did you plan to leave the stage and start climbing around, or was that an in the moment thing?
I do that always. So I'm always off the stage. I'm off the stage more than I'm on the stage, but it's never really premeditated what exactly I'm going to do. So I know there's going to be something that happens, but we don't know what's going to happen. So the team's always looking out for me like, we got to watch her because we have to probably bring her back on the stage. We don't have insurance for this, you know what I mean? So I was pure panic the whole time.
When you were climbing up, were you like, this is a bit risky, or just going with it?
No, I just go with it. Because you know what? If I get hurt, at least it's being filmed probably. So it's worth it at that point.
Always content.
Okay, if it's going to be on YouTube, worth it. If I'm going to get hurt, it might as well go online.
What was the reception like from the crowd yesterday?
It was really good. I didn't, like I said, I didn't know what to expect when everyone's kind of vibing and they're at a party and they're spread out and they're like in the pool, they're at the bar. You don't know if they're going to be paying attention to you at all, if it's going to be like a look at me kind of thing, kind of vibe, which is very awkward to go from an introvert. Like truly, I know a lot of artists say, oh, I'm an introvert. And then we're on stage and it's a very much an attention game when you're in the industry, and it's very much look at me. But I mean, yeah, everyone was having a good time. Everyone was positive vibes. It feels like when we're at these shows, people get to forget about their bills for a second. They get to forget about loss. So they get to forget about any kind of problems they're going through. So I think everyone was really in the moment. And that's what it felt like. It felt like in the moment.
How do you prepare yourself to go on stage? Because you're an introvert and you've got to go out there and do that. What do you do before you go on?
Panic. That's like, you know, I really like to be there early because I like to see the vibe of the crowd and everything. I like to do a really good sound check. I do certain vocal warm-ups, but since I'm a rapper, I do more like tongue twisters and stuff, like unique New York. Try saying that.
Absolutely not.
Yeah. Soy boat.
Toy boat. Yeah, yeah.
You start sounding British when you do it. I start sounding British when you do it too many times in a row. So I do certain vocal warm-ups. I mostly get the read on the crowd. Yeah, but I kind of pace a lot, but it's not always bad nervous. It's excited. Because I feel like when you really want something to go well, you are nervous about it. You're excited about it. It's good anxiety. It's adrenaline. It's because you really care. It's not like, you know, some artists I've seen backstage that are just kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then they just go on. They're like drinking, go on. They're like very nonchalant about it, stumble on stage, whatever. And I'm like, man, I kind of wish I could have that amount of calm. But at the same time, I feel like I'm just going over the set so much in my head because I want people to have a really good time. I want to have a connection with the audience. I want them to just, yeah, like I was saying earlier, forget about all their problems and stuff. And I'm like, I hope I can get that to happen. Like, I hope I can get them be their escape.
You are an insane rapper. Like, how do you remember all of it? Like, how do you,
practice because I don't. I mean, I actually have a really bad memory, so that's really funny, but it becomes muscle memory. So I practice a lot so that I can do those things like run around, so that I'm not trying to think of my lyrics and I'm running around and climbing stuff and jumping in pools. You know what I mean? So it's just a lot of practice and it kind of becomes muscle memory. But yeah, I think one time we did a word count on like, I did like an hour-long set or something and I was saying a couple thousand words. We like put the lyrics through some sort of word count. I'm like, I wonder how many words I say on stage and that I have to remember. And that's aside from just my banter in between, like what my lyrics, like a couple thousand words.
I'm glad you said how you did it, because from a second in my head, I was like, was somebody counting?
No, you can do like the essay word counts, like when you're going to school and it's like, oh, you're trying to make your paper longer and then you put in filter. I'm like, that's what I feel like I do in all my songs. I'm just making my essay longer. For what reason?
Where does your inspiration come from for your lyrics and, you know, your music?
It's weird because I don't always just listen to hip hop. I can draw inspiration from actors, actresses, comedians a lot, because comedians, if you think about it, once you do stand up, they're just on stage with just a microphone. To me, that is one of the scariest things you can think of, like, because there's nothing to hide behind. Like, if you have a band or you have music, if it's not going as well and the crowd's kind of dead or they're not giving you the reaction, you can kind of move along to the next song, and at least the music's loud and it kind of drowns out the silence. The silence is deafening.
What does
As
that
an
feel
entertainer,
like?
the silence is deafening.
When they're not reacting, what does that feel like for you?
I mean, I'm lucky where I haven't had that too many times because it's hard to not react in some way when you're going out into the crowd and stuff, because I've noticed with the things we bring, the confetti and everything, even if it's as someone who doesn't like the genre that I do, usually they're still like, okay, this is fun, you know, so, but it's really, the silence is like the worst thing, because it's just, if you can hear a pin drop, like that's, really bad. But I mean, being in hip hop, I've had to have some tough crowds, and I've had hecklers and things like that. And I think it's just, you have to be so confident. And even if you have to walk on stage like you're the shit, even if you're panicking. Like, I don't think I'm like 6'5", but I got to walk up there like that, because you got to make them believe it. And usually they'll go with it. But yeah, if it's quiet, then I move it faster for sure. I'm like, okay, next song. I'm not gonna let it just be dead air, tumbleweed.
When did you know you were good?
I still don't know. I just hope it every day. Thank you.
When did you know? Like, when you first started out, did you start singing or something like that? Was it straight into rap?
It was straight. I did spoken word poetry, so I don't consider myself a great singer by any means. I think I'm become a strong songwriter, but it was spoken word poetry, and then I kind of transitioned it to being on top of music, because I saw visuals like music videos and TLC and Eve and all them, and I was like, oh, I want to do music and music videos and stuff like that. But I think just being good, it's like such a matter of opinion, that I think what makes an artist good is having the story and relatability and stuff. So it's not just, I think I'm technically, my skills the best. I think there's plenty of better rappers than me, plenty of better looking people, better dressed, everything like that. But it's a matter of someone seeing their story in you, or seeing themselves in you. They don't want, when I'm doing my songs and I'm writing these lyrics, it's not just for me. They want to hear their story in my songs too. So it's not just about hearing about me, you know what I mean?
What is your favorite song? What's the best track you've ever written?
Oh man. One of my more recent songs that's one of my favorites actually is called Big Girls Don't Cry. And we ended up, my videographer D is here, and we ended up shooting, like, since TikTok and everything has really taken off, we would shoot all these crazy music videos that cost so much money. You're putting all this production into it, all this costuming and thought, and you put it out, and I don't know, all the marketing and money goes to it, and you can't control if it does well or does bad or whatever. And sometimes it can be disheartening if something doesn't do as well as you thought it should do, because you're so attached to it. But recently I did a song, and the day it dropped, I was like, oh, I should probably shoot like a reel or a TikTok for this. And we went out in this like back alley behind my house and shot it and put it up within the hour of shooting it. And it has like 1 million some views or whatever. And we were like, okay. And we kept putting reels out for that, and it's like 1 million views. So some of the verses in that really touched people, I think, and because those were the sections we were putting up. So it's really weird. You don't know what people are going to gravitate towards. And I liked it too, because it wasn't just like a meaningless trendy song that you would think people just like shallow trendy songs. It had more meaning. So for a song to take off, that's not why it's my favorite song, but I'm glad that it was a song that I actually really, really cared about, not just like a party song that took off.
When you're on stage, you take the time to talk to people, about kind of their self-worth, about kind of bigging each other up, all that kind of stuff you said yesterday.
Stop beating each other up.
No, bigging each other up.
Oh, bigging each other up. I thought you said you were talking about people beating each other up. I was like, yeah, knock it off out here. That's me. Yeah, bigging each other up. Okay.
Why do you do that? Why is that important to get those messages across while you're on stage?
Well, it's weird because I've been doing this for like 10 years now, and I'm just starting to really take off. Like people say it takes 10 years to be an overnight success, right? But in hip hop especially, it's been very male dominated, and it still is, but we're seeing way more girls come out. A lot of female artists are like major artists now. We have Cardi B, like back when I first started, it was like Missy Elliott and everything. But I didn't have a lot of female supporters, and that's another reason I said I was out of my element coming here, because I'm like, wow, a bunch of women in the audience at like a hip hop show. Usually it's like all guys, and if you see girls, it's like someone's girlfriend that they brought to the show, So I just felt like when I first started out, I didn't have a lot of support from other women, and now it feels like women are starting to come together more, and it's kind of makes them an unstoppable force, because I think women feel like, especially in any field that they're in, feel like they have a lot to prove when they're there. Like, you can't just be taken seriously. I think a lot of men can be taken seriously. They enter a room, they're very confident, and they say something. You're going to take what they say seriously, and women have to kind of really have a lot of accolades to back it up. I don't think guys might have to show their full resume. I feel like when we say something, we also have to show why you should take it seriously when we say it. So yeah, I think supporting each other is really important right now, and it's starting to happen. I'm seeing the shift, and it's awesome.
You are being recognized as an artist in your own right by, some people in the industry, huge rappers. Is it challenging being a female rapper?
Yeah, I think it is. I was talking to my team earlier, and sometimes there's ego involved, where if there's men opening for you at a show, they're like, why is she headlining over me, kind of thing, because especially in the genre of hip hop, it's still a very sexist genre. There's a lot of it's still a very homophobic genre, still a very sexist genre. Obviously, we have artists like Lil Nas X and stuff starting to change that. So that's amazing to see, but it is still homophobic, it is still sexist, and yeah, I think it's important to be representation now.
Being a trailblazer, is that pressure on you?
Well, yeah, because you don't try to be, I don't come out here like, yeah, I should be a role model. Like, God, oh my God, that's so scary. Because when people say, oh, I let my daughter listen to you, like, you're a really good role model, I'm like, oh, geez. Like, hold on, let me like rethink every lyric I've ever written now. Because, yeah, I wouldn't say that I write for kids or anything, but at the end of the day, the message is for underdogs. It is for being yourself. It might be a little edgy. It might be a little rough around the edges, but it's definitely a massive compliment. It's not something that I tried to go for, like, yeah, everyone should listen to me like I'm a big leader or a role model or something like that. But it is flattering to hear, for sure.
Being a queer artist, is it important to you to speak on those things as well? Or is that something that just, you're an artist that happens to be queer? I know you said that before.
Yeah, I know. And it's so weird because I kind of go back and forth on it. Like, I want it to be so normalized that I don't have to just come out and talk about it. It's like, oh, and she's gay, and it's like I'm treating it like it's not a big deal. So that's kind of the example I'm trying to give people, and that's just me. Other people, other artists are very like, come out with the rainbow flag, they're doing their thing, and they're activists, and I definitely support the community and everything like that. I also just want it to be kind of a thing that's like, yeah, I'll talk about it, but I want it to be so normal that I don't have to, is the thing, that we don't have to talk about it. Because if you don't have to come on and talk about being straight, you see me with who you see me with, and this is how it should feel for all people in the community.
What advice would you give to younger people starting out, young women who want to get into hip hop, rap? What would you say to them?
Man, just keep writing, and write for you. Like, write for the correct reasons. Don't think about TikTok and Instagram and think about the trends. You have to, because I've done it before too. I'm guilty of it. Once you start doing this for a living, sometimes it's hard to not sit there and be like, well, what do they want to hear? Are they going to like this? Is everyone else going to like this? You have to really, really experience life too, because if you just stay cooped up and you're just trying to force yourself to write, you have nothing to write about eventually. So have a lot of life experiences. Stay true to yourself. Don't think about what's trendy right now, because you can create that. You can create what's trendy.
Thank you so much.
Thank
That
you.
was brilliant.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let